To me, this has been one of the really big unanswered questions about PV systems in the National Electrical Code. How do you deal with supply side disconnect, bonding, and grounding? Fortunately, I think we got some really good guidance in the 2026 code. Well, you're not going to find anything in 705.11 anymore because the bonding and grounding section was removed. But there are some changes that you should be aware of, which I think will be helpful. We're going to follow the existing rules in Article 250 if we're not supplementing or modifying any of those rules. All right, so let's do a review of what those rules are. The important requirements are located in 250.25. Grounding of systems permitted to be connected on the supply side of the service disconnect. If you go to 250.25, what you're going to see is that it reroutes you to 250.24. So what does this look like? Okay, if you have a grounded utility supply, then 250.24 A through E are the rules that you're going to have to comply with when you connect your supply side power source. These were not always spectacularly clear, but I think it's pretty clear now. The grounded conductor has to be brought to the service disconnecting means. So even if you don't have a grounded neutral conductor connected to your actual power source, let's say you have a 3-phase inverter and it doesn't need a neutral. It doesn't matter. You still have to bring that grounded conductor to the service disconnecting means. You don't necessarily have to run it to the inverter, but you have to bring it to that power source service disconnect. You have to install a main bonding jumper connecting the grounded conductor to the EGC and the enclosure in each service disconnect. This is a requirement for any grounded system. The main bonding jumper is different than the grounding electrode conductor connection. The grounding electrode conductor connection can be anywhere between that service disconnect and the service drop. However, the GEC has to connect the EGCs, the enclosure, and the grounded conductor to the grounding electrode system. So these are not different rules than would apply to any other service. These are all the same rules, and we are going to apply them to our power source supply side connected disconnect. All right, what about ungrounded systems? 250.24F says that our GEC, grounding electrode conductor, has to be connected to the grounding electrodes, the grounding electrode system, required by Part 3 of Article 250. So it doesn't matter that you don't have a grounded conductor, you still need a grounding electrode system and a GEC. That GEC is going to be connected to the metal enclosure of the service conductors at any accessible point from their load end to the service disconnecting means. So that's really very similar to how you can connect the GEC for a grounded utility supply. So again, I think what's important to know here is that 705 is not modifying or changing any of these requirements. It is very clear that these supply side connected systems are being treated just like every other service and service disconnecting means.